we finally have front shocks. Luckily, we live in a place where there are many people with snowmobiles who are constantly upgrading them. So we got these locally from, these are from a Polaris RMK Pro Assault. So they have about 6 inches of travel, which is more than enough to max out the travel on the front, which is awesome. It'd be sweet if we could get some this good for the rear, but these are actually too big to even fit in the space we have in the rear. So we'll use them up front and they will look and be quite awesome. We'll sit about there. A nice piggyback reservoir sticking out the hood. Easy access for rebound adjustment. I'm starting to make the shock tower hoop that's going to go on the back of these shocks here, and I want it to have a little bit of an arc in the top so it's not just straight across. So obviously the tool for that is the tubing roller, and I'm using these 2 clamp blocks from the road fab bender to make a stop on either end, so I can just roll it back and forth until it hits the stop, and that way I'm bending the same amount or the same distance each time, and also I can use them to keep it straight. Got my nice little arc there at the top to make it look pretty, and now I've got it marked out for a couple of steeper bends to angle it down to where it's going to connect, which is on this tube here on both sides. If you see from the front, it'll connect to that tube with one of my trademark bung tube attachment systems, and then same thing on this side here.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break to talk about the sponsor of this video, Cove, and specifically the new Commuter 2. Now the Commuter 2 is exciting for a lot of reasons. It looks good, it's portable, the battery lasts up to 7 hours. It's got a clip so you can just clip it right to your backpack and go for a hike, whatever you gotta do. But the coolest part is this. You're really getting 2 for the price of 1 here. They have a kind of a rubber coating in between, so it's not going to vibrate on your desk and make any noise. And I'm using these to edit the videos now, so I can get stereo speakers. It's a great break from the headphones. And of course, one of the most important part about speakers is they sound good and they can get loud. So I'm definitely going to be using these every day, editing, working in the garage. Now we've got surround sound in the garage, so that's cool. Bluetooth straight to your phone. And if you use our code to get the Commuter 2, you will save 60%. It's GRIND60. The link is below in the description. That makes these speakers incredibly affordable and they sound really good. And last time we did a deal with Cove, the headphones sold out kind of straight away, so you might want to look at that soon. Alright, thanks guys. Now let's get back to building.
So after much struggle and difficulty, I got this rear shock hoop in there. It's not attached properly yet because it, like everything else in the front, will have to be removable. But I'm about to go over to the lathe and make some bungs so that I can attach it. And there we have 10 more bungs. So I've got these 2 long ones. Those are for the back side of the upper shock mounts. And then along with those go 2 just straight through sleeve ones. Where the crossbar mounts down below, I've got a couple sets of threaded and sleeves, and then I also made a couple extra threaded ones for the rear upper shock mounts where they go inside their tubes. That one goes in there. This is going to be a notch I really don't want to screw up. My rear shock hoop is basically done, aside from the attachment points. And I'm just having a hard time coming up with something to support the front that I like. My initial idea with this hoop was to just connect it kind of like that, but once I see it, it just looks terrible. Like in my head, I thought it might look cool, but it's absolutely horrible. I'm starting to dislike this front stinger hoop, so I think I'm going to cut it out and see what it looks like without it. And then I'm also toying with the idea of making a plate steel front bumper thing that looks more Jeepy and more like the original Power Wheels front bumper, which will help hide that, or fill in the gap between the body and the front of the chassis there. I've finally come up with a solution for the shock tower. It's kind of strange looking, but in a good way, I think, for the most part. And it's really strong, which is the most important factor. So obviously I've got these two tube bung things all welded together, and this piece supporting between them. And then this piece comes down here on this side, and obviously I'll make another one on that side. I really would like it to tie into the end of, like, straight into the bottom of this, but it just doesn't work with where the headlights are. If we ever want any chance of putting in real headlights, which obviously we do, then that tube can't come out any farther, or it'll be right in the middle of where the headlight needs to be. And also, out farther it runs into the shock, so then it has to be even farther forward, so that's not an option. I think it looks good here, it's just not exactly what I wanted. And then, the grill covers up a lot of it, and then we can figure out whatever we're gonna do down here, but it's certainly extremely strong, and it's all still removable. So now this front piece has 2, 4, 6, it has 8 bolts now, but you unbolt those 8 bolts and the whole fender assembly, bumper assembly, and shock support thing comes off. And then there's 2 more bolts back here for the rear half of it. So it's all removable, which is necessary for the engine to ever come out. So obviously this is only half supported here, but it should be more than enough to hold its own weight. So off the jack stands for the first time ever. Look at that. She's a roller.
That's so cool.
today, the Hurricane gets a plate bumper instead of a tube bumper. I've got the first piece here done. Here's my CAD for it. Got it tacked in there. You can see there's a little gap under the grill. That's just because the body's not sitting perfectly flat right now, but I'll worry about that later. So that's the start of it, and I'm just gonna keep building little bits and angles and get it all looking pretty. Plate bumpers coming together. Nice and sturdy, nice and straight. These are the next pieces. I know they look like small, weird seats, but they actually go, if I can remember where they go, they go like that on the side there, and then I'm gonna put 2 bends in them. So I'll put a bend in here to bend that around, and then a bend on this one to bend it under, like that. And it'll save some welding and make it out of 1 piece instead of 3. So we got this brake a while ago for various reasons. We haven't actually used it yet. So, see how it works. This steel's a little thicker than what it's rated to bend, but it's also a tiny, tiny piece, so it shouldn't be a problem.
See if Harbor Freight Special does the trick.
Yeah. Looks like it. Let's see what it looks like on there. Wow, that was just a guess at how much I needed to bend it.
That's pretty damn perfect.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. Now that the front end is all mounted and sturdy, the goal for today is to get everything sturdy enough to take it for not exactly a test drive, but a test roll down the hill and see how it feels. So right now I'm working on finishing up these seat brackets, and then I'll reinforce the other end of these shock mounts, and then just go around and re-tack a few things to make sure that they're sturdy enough for a light downhill send. Got these radiator mounts done. They look pretty good, and I can also make some extra seat mounts that attach to this same tube and come off because the seat's only about that far away when it's in there. So, but I'm gonna save that for later because what I really want to do is sit in this thing and roll down the hill. So now that the rear shocks are solidly mounted, all I really need to do before we can roll down the hill is just go through and check some critical points for, you know, weld strength. basically, time to send it.
And the only thing we think that can tow it up the hill, since the taco's out of commission right now, is Cindy.
Yeah.
So we'll get a tow back up.
There's still a fair bit of snow on the hill, so anything with tires would have a difficult time. Luckily, Cindy's got tracks, so we'll roll it down the hill, hopefully not drive into the creek, and then tow it back up.
Then we're testing out a new toy. We got a Max, which is a 360 camera. Should be sick.
Oh yeah.
No brake life.
Yeah, no brakes, but I got steering, so close enough.
So why do we do this?
Well, you know, because we can. But also it's a good shakedown, you know, it's a good idea to get a feel for how it rides before we get it driving. Hi Bjorn, what do you think?
It looks smooth.
Yeah, it is pretty smooth. Yeah. Felt good. The steering felt pretty good too. Even once I hit the snow. Time to go get Cindy and tow it out of here. I'll be right back.
What are the odds this works, Asa?
I don't know. Right now I think slim, but we'll see. It's kind of hairy up there.
Well, you are the Power Wheels Race World Champion, so if anyone's going to do it, it's you.
Yeah, I don't think that counts here.
That worked better than I thought. That's probably one of the best things we've done with the Power Wheels before it's actually run on its own. Cindy's got some ponies now after that rebuild.
Yeah, so that was, well, let's see. You and me combined is about 320-ish. This thing probably currently weighs 500, we'll say. So that's 1,300 pounds that Cindy just pulled up the hill. Including herself.
Yeah.
Dang.
Like it was nothing in second gear.
Well, that's all we had time for this week. Thank you so much for watching. We have one of the craziest videos coming out next week, so look forward to that. We got a racetrack rented out just for us for 4 hours. You could probably guess what we're gonna do. We've been dropping hints on our YouTube story and Instagram. So definitely get ready for next Friday. And we launched a second channel, GHPC2, or the link is in the description. So go ahead and check that out and see you guys soon.